All right. So, welcome. I'm going to give it just a couple more minutes because we always have people that come in late. And most likely at some point I will need to repeat myself. So totally fine. I am totally used to it. And it also allows us to have conversation and really get to know each other and ask questions about the industry, about this program. We do have several programs. Today, particularly, we will talk about our supply chain logistic technology and warehouse certificate program. It is a mouthful, but we do teach a lot, and we teach a lot in a short period of time. We have two versions of this program. There is our in-person program, and then there is our online program. Both of these will be starting this summer. So we are getting the questions, taking the questions. We are utilizing that to make any adjustments if needed, but also just getting information out to people as they have these questions too. So I am Izzy Nally. I work for Bridgeport, and I am in the marketing, but I'm also the training manager as well. So if you have a training program that you want, I help make sure that it happens, and I make sure that every question gets answered and implemented as much as possible. So this is an information session on the supply chain logistic technology and warehouse certificate program that we have available. All right, let's get started. So, what is this certificate program? What does it entail? There's going to be a lot of information here. I understand it's a lot to take in, and most of us are like, "Can I have a handout? Can I have some information, to take home with me?" Yes, I will be sending you an email with a PDF that has all of this information in it, and I'll talk about some of those things that will be in the PDF as well. All right, so this program does include certificates that are industry specific for supply chain, for warehouse, for logistics. Okay, so not only are you getting the Bridgeport certificate and all the knowledge that we bring, and I'll explain what that is and what that entails, but you also get the MSSC2 certificates with this too. So when we say technical certificates, that's what we're talking about, and I will go over those in this presentation as well. So we are cross-training you. So if you couldn't tell, there's four different things that are included in this. There's the supply chain logistics, supply chain technology, and warehouse. So we are covering all four areas. What we found is a lot of these certificate programs that are out there, you're going in and you're kind of doing only one thing. But this industry really requires that you be cross-trained in all of these functionalities because we want to prepare you for that management position. That management position says you need to know all these things because you're going to be managing all these people. It also gives you variety and it also gives you flexibility in choosing your career or navigating within the industry itself. So, we are really here to try to give you as much as you can to be as empowered as you can within the supply chain industry, which includes the logistics, the technology, and the warehouse. All right, so this is an interactive and collaborative training. Whether you are online or in the in-person classroom, we have exercises for you to do. Why? Because us as adults and adult learning says that we need some hands-on, that we need to learn in all the different ways. So yes, we need the visual, we need the audio, we also need that kinesthetic as well. So it's really nice when people just give you a bunch of theory and then you go out into the real world and then it's like, oh, well, I know like how to do this, but I don't really know how to do this. So we want to give you the skill set and also the experience that you can actually apply these skills rather than just all be theory. All right, so I was giving a little sarcasm there. So we are really teaching you not only some skill sets and how to do it, but also we're preparing you for what's coming. So that's where that technology side comes in as well. All right. So within this, and it can be an 8 to 10 week program. So if you're taking it in person, it is generally 8 weeks. We always are around for the 10 weeks, just in case for some reason you didn't pass one of the exams and you need to retake it, you can. So for any of those who aren't great test takers, you get to retake it. And we're going to be around for you to make sure that you do pass. When we are in the colleges and universities, especially for those in-person people, we don't get paid unless you pass. So that means we are truly dedicated to making sure that you get what you need. Also, your success is our success. As you pass and you get these jobs, and we want you to stay in touch with us and tell us about the amazing jobs you're getting, we get to use those as testimonials. So we really genuinely are committed to making sure that you are doing your best. Now, within the in-person programs, we typically are teaching this to people that have been job hopping and that don't have a career. And so we are giving you the tools in order to have a career. I know in my mom's side of the family, um, most people weren't career oriented. It was just a job, and a job just paid money. And for us to be able to shift and think in a career aspect was a big change for that whole side of the family. And so that's what really ends up happening for a lot of these people. And we would get questions when we would do these presentations live with them, and it would be like, "Well, I don't ever want to drive a forklift. Why would I need to get that training?" And it's like, because we want you in a management position where you need to know the forklift training because the people under you are going to be having forklift training and operating a forklift. Now, the cool thing is, within the technology of supply chain, a lot of these forklifts nowadays are actually operated not in the seat from a remote. So that's where the technology is coming more and more. A lot of this technology, I know sometimes there's conversations of fear of, is it going to take jobs away from people? But actually, right now, we're having a lack of people in the jobs. So now we need more people that can actually manually, or not manually, but like operate these items and these devices from a distance. And it's allowing people to have a safer job than climbing up this huge ladder. Like now we have a drone that can check the top shelves. But now you don't have to necessarily operate the forklift in the vehicle. You can do it from a distance. So it's not that these jobs or this technology is replacing the jobs. It's that the jobs are shifting. The jobs are changing. And we need people that are up to date on this technology and know what's coming and know what's available so that you can be the wise person that says, "Hey, let me show you what is also available, and let's implement this into the warehouse, or let's implement this into the business." So again, we're taking you from a job position and giving you this career position. So it's not just when we do the in-person, we're doing CPR, first aid, and those things. You're like, why couldn't I just get those at the job? So maybe you're like, oh, well, if I go to Amazon, they're going to pay for my forklift and they're going to pay for my CPR. But when you leave, since they paid for it, uh, they keep it. You don't get to take it with you. So when you come into a business and you're like, I already have these, here's the certificates, you are ready to go in. And not only are you starting, you're not starting at entry level, you're starting above entry level, or you're at least starting at an entry level training for a manager. Because let's face it, we have to get used to the atmosphere. So we say this because there is a lot of new technology and there's a lot to know about this industry. And the exams, debatable if they're challenging or not. I think any exam is a little challenging. Um, but these exams like MSSC really states like, hey, I know my stuff. And so those examiners are also industry standard for being in a management position as well. All right. So as you can see here on the screen, if you haven't paid attention already, within the curriculum, we have the MSSC. So that includes the CLA and the CLT. We'll also be providing the forklift trainer, OSHA. OSHA is also online. CPR is in person. Principles of supply chain project management. That is one of our Bridgeport expertise that we're bringing in. So again, we are really preparing you for this world. We're doing an intro to drone technology, and then we'll also provide career coaching and a certificate of completion, of course. So we have these stackable certifications that are customizable. Um, you will, I didn't put it on here. One of the cool things that we do, as well as how to design a warehouse for optimal functionality. So there's some really cool aspects that we go over within this program. Now, what I did is I broke down and I clipped this from the PDF that I'll be sending you. Uh, what these different industries are. So what is supply chain? What is supply chain logistics? What is supply chain technology? What is warehouse? And how are they different? Because there is a lot of overlap. So supply chain is really looking at these bullet points is sourcing, and then also the sales and the delivery. But supply or the logistics is really that planning aspect. It's that behind the scenes of, how does the product get from a warehouse to the Amazon warehouse, from the Amazon warehouse to maybe another sub warehouse to the driver, and then the driver to the person, and all of that background. So that order fulfillment. When we look at supply chain technology, we're looking at like barcodes, scanners. And yes, there's a lot of technology behind the barcodes themselves, and there's a lot of industry standards on what those barcodes look like. There's the cloud-based computers, autonomous vehicles. So that's what I was talking about, like these forklift devices and transport devices that are now operating within the warehouses. And we've got some really cool pictures. I'll add it on here for next time. In the Cleveland Clinic, which is pretty famous, is right near where our new warehouse is going to be going. And they have these really awesome, like robotic devices all running out throughout their basement. It's really cool. Warehousing. So that's what we tend to think of, these classic jobs that we tend to think of when we think of logistics and warehouse and stuff like that. But that's the picking, the packing, the shipping, the receiving. Those are more of those uh, entry level jobs that a lot of us think of when we think of the warehouse, but it's so much more advanced than that. And this industry is not going away. We're seeing stores closing and more moving onto this online shopping. Online shopping is not going away. In fact, we're getting more and more normalized to it, and it's only going to increase. I know I joke, past couple info sessions, I've been saying, like, I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be one of those people that have my toilet paper shipped to my door. And like last month, I finally was like, you know what? We have a baby. We're running all over the place. I'm just going to have it shipped because we have a general sense of like how often we need it. The same thing with my toothpaste. And I'm like, these conveniences are here and it doesn't cost me any extra. Why wouldn't I just do it? And I think more and more people are getting used to the things that they said that they would never do or never thought that they would do. So this is not going away. And more, we need the people that are prepared and can do those higher level functions that can be in the industry and be ready. Like, that doesn't mean saying you're committed to one job, but being within the industry and really start to become that expert. So in your PDF that I will be sending you, there will be 2 pages full of job titles, career titles that you can look at. And you will see the requirements on these. I tell people go to LinkedIn jobs and type these in and see what the pay is as well. And for many people, we're like, I would just like to get a $50,000 job, 1,000 a year job, or maybe 70,000. And in some of these, we're looking even bigger than that. So the importance of picking an industry and sticking with it in order to build a career, we want you to see that. And I always joke, I'm like, when I was in college, I wish they would have provided lists of potential job titles so that I could have looked at those before I dived in or while I was in the midst of the program. I wish that was available. And so enough of us have wished that we created it. So here's your list. Here's the ability for you to go do some research and see if this is right for you. So when we're looking at those certifications, we just broke them down here again so that you can see those. You'll see the learning principles, some of the things that we'll be diving into. We want you to have this. We want you to be empowered and know what you're getting yourself into. And then when we look at the CLA and CLT, again, these are those MSSC standards and what you'll be learning within each one of these. Again, this is in the PDF that I'll be sending you. So I'm not going to just read it all. And seeing like where these really line up and how we've included this into the program. Just hitting on some highlights for our in-person people, because these might be relevant, although you might not be local, and these might still hit home. So some of the employers that our students have been employed with during the program, so they're getting jobs while they're in the program or directly after. Some of those big ones I'm sure you know is Pepsi and Nestle. Those are big names, and they're not going to take lightly on the people that they're employing. So hired positions, we put some of those there. And we're really proud that this last cohort, we have a cohort going on right now. This last cohort, every single person had a job before the 8-week program was complete. Every single one of them. And the reason why is because we have these connections with the actual businesses, and we're bringing them in for tours. And as we go in for those tours and we're making those connections, they're seeing the expertise that these people have, that they've developed, and the knowledge that they've acquired over this 8 weeks. I talk so much, my voice gets worn out. All right. So as we end this, I'm going to go back to my first page so that you can see that one. Please know that we have more than just this program. So we do have principles of global supply chain, and we have global supply chain, like management courses. The people that are teaching these classes are probably some of the smartest people I've ever worked with. They are literally going in and designing warehouses. They are consulting on very, very large projects. Um, they're actually designing a really, really awesome warehouse right now that will be our own personal warehouse. We've been consulting, and we've been doing supply chain globally for several years. I think it's 10 to 15 years now. So I mean it's a while. And they are doing government contracts, and they're doing contracts with very, very high off businesses, Fortune 500. And it's amazing what they're doing and how committed they are to knowledge. So, actually, a lot of them currently, right now, our leadership is working with Case University, and they're putting together a case competition where students will be solving real world problems. So we bring our problems to the students and say, hey, solve this. And we'll help guide you through it. So how they operate is absolutely brilliant. And if they don't have an answer to a question, which I don't think they have yet, they will figure out a way to get an answer for you. So that being said, we want to know what questions you might have, or any comments or anything that stood out or interests you. All right, so we're opening up to questions. All right, so if you don't have any questions, I think we've got 10 minutes left. I will be sending out an email with the PDF, and then I can also send a recording of this presentation as well. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there's anything that you were looking for and you're like, oh, I don't know if this covers it. I don't know if you all can do that. Please let me know because it might have just been for something I forgot to say. All right. So for those in person, we and virtually, actually, we will both beginning both this summer. I believe we are scheduled for July. If you're in person, we have an actual warehouse that we do. We have actual tours that we do. And there are often scholarships available for our in person. We are currently working on trying to get scholarships for our online people as well. So there's a lot of loopholes that we have to jump through to make sure that we can get funding and scholarships. And this program is just going to continue to expand. So if it's not the right fit for you right now, please stay in touch because we are continuing to evolve it, continuing to make it more and more accessible so that we can provide amazing jobs and careers to those who do truly desire it. All right. So I'm Izzy Nally. If you have any questions, you can type them in the chat. You can say them out loud. You can email me. Of course, I'll be emailing you and letting you know all the details about this and that PDF and recording as well. All right. So if there's not any more questions, we'll go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I like to talk, if you couldn't tell. All right. Well, thank you. And I hope to talk to you soon.